Kuzampo and welcome to this week's edition of Bhutan This Week, our top stories. Dojilebe appoints 2 new principals. Drink driving leading cause of motor vehicle accidents. And pass percentage for class 12 increases by almost 6%. The Dojilebe of the Zhungdatang has appointed new principals of 2 monastic institutes in the country. The new appointees were conferred qadar at the Punakazong recently.
43-year-old Sonam Rinchen from Tangsipju Geok in Trongsa is the new principal of the Metroplaga School in Thimphu. Prior to his present post, he served as the Kudru Tsokchen of the central monastic body. He began his monastic education at the age of 13 from the Dechepodra Central Monastic School. He graduated from the Lekshe Juni Shedra in Punakha. He completed his 3-year retreat from the Pankar Drupde in Punakha. And 35-year-old Lamkinga Nobu from Bab Geok in Punakha is the new principal of the Tenchen Gemba Nunnery in Lamgong Geok of Paro. He was the Lam of the Chimilhaga in Punakha for 3 years before his present appointment. He also served as the principal at Semtoka Shedra before that. He became a monk at 7 years of age and completed his studies from the Dodedra Shedra and Tango University of Buddhist Studies in Thimphu. He completed his 3-year retreat from Cheri Drupde in Thimphu. For Janga Doji in Punakha, Kinzang Hladen, PBS News.
With the National Council election just around the corner, aspiring candidates have started registering with the Election Commission of Bhutan. The Commission has received registration of 130 aspiring candidates as of now. Of it, 122 are male and 8 are female.
As of now, Serpong stands at the top of the table with 19 aspiring candidates registered for the upcoming NC elections. At the bottom of the table are Bumtha, Kasa, Ha, Tashiansi and Trongsa with only 2 candidates each so far. From Bumtha, 2 aspiring National Council candidates, 1 each from Tang and Bumthang town, have registered with the ECV as of now. Likewise, Chuka has 4 aspiring candidates from Bongo, Lokchina, Phuntsholing and the Tromde. In Dagana, 8 aspiring candidates have registered to contest the upcoming NC elections. 2 each are from Dujigang and Goji, and Geserling, Kana, Tsendegang and Seza have 1 each. In addition, Kasa has 2 aspiring candidates. They are from Khate and Laya. Similarly, Ha has 2 aspiring candidates from Samar and Sambe as of now. Linsi has 3, 1 each from Jare, Minbi and Minje. Likewise, 9 aspiring candidates from Mongar have registered with ECB. 5 of them are from Chaskar, Narang, Gongdu, Ngatsang and Kenkar respectively, and 2 each are from Shirmuhung and Tsamang. Paro has 7 aspiring candidates, 1 each from Dogar, Luni and Wancha, and 2 aspiring candidates each from Lango and Shaba. In Pemagatil, 5 aspiring candidates have given their names to the ECB. 2 are from Dechiling and Nanang respectively, and 3 are from Shumar Gewok. Punakha has 6 aspiring candidates. Talo and Tebisa Gewoks have 2 candidates each. Zomi and Shingajimi have 1 aspiring candidates each. Similarly, 11 aspiring candidates from Samrup Jonkar have registered so far. Tewatang, Lanchipu, Lauri, Serthi and the Tromde have registered a candidate each. Komdar, Pemathang and Martsala have registered 2 aspiring candidates each. In Samtsi, there are 11 aspiring candidates for the National Council. 2 are from Norgegang and 1 each from Pemaling, Tinchukha, Topuchen, Tashicholing and Nobugang, and 4 are from Samtsi town. Serpong has 9 aspiring candidates, 1 each from Gakiling, Chuzegang, Umling, Jimicheling, Singye, Samtinling, Chuzom and the Tromde. 4 of them are from Gelifu Gewok and 3 are from Sershong. Meanwhile, Dikiling and Shompangkha also have 2 aspiring candidates each. Close to the list on ECB's record, 3 candidates from Thimphu have registered so far from Chang, Gene and the Tromde. Tashiga have 5 aspiring candidates, 1 from Kangpar and 2 each from Phongme and Radi. Tashiansi, with one of the least numbers so far, has an aspiring candidate each from Jamkhar and Yangtze. Trongsa has 3 aspiring candidates, 2 from Nubi and 1 from Langtil, and 12 aspiring candidates from Tsirang have registered with ECB, 1 each from Barshong, Gosarling, Mendegang, Segethang, and the Tsirang town. Patsaling and Semjong have 2 aspiring candidates each and 3 are from Tsolinkar. Wandi Phodra has 9 aspiring NC candidates. Jina, Kante, Kaji, and Sefu have an aspiring candidate each, whereas there are 3 candidates from Rubisa and 2 from Dagala. Shemgang has 7 aspiring candidates. They are from Bardo, Joka, Goshing, Nangkor, Ngangla, Phankar, and Tronggewoks respectively. Meanwhile, of the 10 incumbent NC members aspiring to contest the NC elections, 8 have registered with the ECB so far. The ECB says the number of aspiring candidates may change in the coming days as they will continue to receive aspiring candidates registration until the Common Forum or Damngoi Zumdu begins. According to the Commission, in 2018, 127 candidates including 6 females contested the National Council elections. They were selected from 177 aspiring candidates following the selection process in the Damngoi Zumdu or Common Forums. The ECB held close to 290 common forums in the 20 districts for the 2018 NC elections. The Election Commission says that the preparations for the upcoming NC elections are in full swing, although it has yet to announce the exact dates of the elections. Devika Pradhan, PBS News.
A foreigner has been arrested for boarding a flight at the Paro International Airport without a plane ticket. The incident reportedly happened on a True Care flight bound for Bangkok, Thailand on Monday morning.
Flight attendants were in for a shock when the female passenger showed them an old boarding pass. According to sources, the middle-aged woman had casually entered the plane and taken a seat. Upon verification, it was found that the boarding pass was that of a past flight and was in the name of a Bhutanese woman. According to our sources, the woman was able to go through the immigration and security checks using the invalid pass. This has yet to be confirmed by authorities. PBS tried to talk to Drucker, but they were not available. The Department of Air Transport said they are investigating a case of a woman breaching travel protocols at the airport but did not give other details. PBS also contacted the police, but they also did not share any details. Meanwhile, our sources also said that the woman recently entered the country by road through Pinsoling. For Namgyewanshin Paro, Kinzangladen, PBS News.
The Thimphu District Court has recently acquitted Damche Chudin, popularly known as Anim Damche, of the criminal charges concerning the Buddha Dordinma project. The Office of the Attorney General had charged her with criminal misappropriation of property and possession of unexplained properties. The court rendered its judgment earlier last month.
The judgment by the District Court stated that besides the allegations submitted by the Office of the Attorney General, the office did not submit any evidence to prove that Damche Chudin dishonestly misappropriated or converted others' property to her name. Although the Buddha Dordinma project was a private project of Lamthirwandi, the judgment stated that the government had provided basic infrastructural facilities like roads, electricity and water and waived taxes for visits by foreign sponsors to Bhutan and the import of foreign materials. However, there was no evidence to show that the government offered any financial support for the project. The court also stated the project fund belonged to the LUM and foreign sponsors. Moreover, the LUM's statement to the court stated that the defendant had not done anything in contravention of his orders and directions. The sponsors had also not raised any complaint alleging the defendant of such offences. Therefore, the court stated that it did not find the defendant guilty. The court also dismissed the OAG's plea to order the defendant to restitute more than 60 million yoltam to the project. Regarding the defendant's Prado vehicle seized by the Anti-Corruption Commission, the court ordered the ACC to return the vehicle and pay a compensation of 1.5 million yoltam to the defendant for damages suffered due to wrongful seizure from July 2018 to the date of the judgment this year. The court also dismissed the charges of possession of unexplained properties as the defendant is not a serving or former public servant and since the project was not a civil society organization. Moreover, the court stated the defendant was only administering the project where the main administrator of the fund was Lamthung Wandi. The ACC was also ordered to revoke its order to freeze the defendant's properties and bank account. As per the judgment, the ACC has to hand over her seized properties such as vehicles, houses and lands among others within 11 days from the day of the judgment. According to sources, the OAG has appealed the case to the High Court. Meanwhile, another case of Damche concerning tax evasion is also in the High Court. Kilitim for PBS News.
The number of motor vehicle accidents in the country increased last year compared to the past 2 years. According to the records with the police, the numbers, however, are still much lower than the pre-pandemic times. Drink driving remains the leading cause for vehicle crashes in the country.
The country recorded about 780 motor vehicle accidents last year. This was an increase of about 35 cases from 2021, which recorded nearly 750 accidents. There were nearly 80 fatalities from car accidents last year as compared to just over 70 the year before. There was a decline in the accident numbers in 2020 and 2021 after nearly 1,500 cases were reported in 2019. The traffic police said the decrease in the numbers during the 2 years could be due to the COVID pandemic and travel restrictions. Last year's records show that Chukha had the highest number of accidents at about 120. Paro recorded the second highest accident cases, followed by Wangdapura.
While drink driving was the most common cause for accidents, authorities said other causes were overspeeding and vehicles being operated by unlicensed or inexperienced drivers. Road conditions, weather conditions and mechanical failures also led to several accidents.
While many districts did not report any hit-and-run cases, Paro had the highest number. In total, 30 hit-and-run cases were reported across the country.
Records with police show that more than half of the accidents involved a single vehicle. Nearly 500 cases were of single vehicle accident and about 200 were two-vehicle collision. Also, there were about 40 cases of vehicles hitting pedestrians last year. With camera person Puptashi, Kilitim, PBS News.
The country is seeing an increasing number of criminal cases. The number of criminal incidents increased by more than 650 last year compared to the previous year. This is according to the Royal Bhutan Police's crime statistics. According to the police, the number of cases increased after the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions were lifted.
More than 3,500 criminal incidents were reported in the country last year. In 2021, police recorded less than 3,000 cases. Thimphu recorded the highest number of cases at 1,500 last year, followed by Chukha and Paro. According to police, fewer cases were reported during the pandemic due to lockdowns and restrictions. Meanwhile, battery and substance abuse continued to be the leading criminal offences in the country. Last year, nearly 800 battery cases were reported. Police said most of those involved in battery cases are youths. Similarly, more than 600 substance abuse cases were reported last year. According to police, physical abuse, larceny and burglary were among the top 5 crimes in the country last year. According to the RBP, they are intensifying patrolling by deploying more people to reduce criminal incidents in the country. The police will also open a dedicated drug unit to curb drug abuse. Kilitim for PBS News.
In an effort to end all forms of violence against children, a 6-month multi-sectorial pilot campaign was carried out in Thimphu, Samtsi and Tashigang. The campaign ended recently. A 2016 survey found 6 in 10 children in the country experienced some form of violence. The number is even worse if a child has disabilities. The study also pointed out 1 in 10 children experienced sexual violence once in their lifetime.
The campaign, one of the biggest collaborations to date, is aimed at addressing the barriers preventing children and young people from availing protection services. It is also to raise awareness about the prevalence of violence against children. The campaign focused on sexual, online and physical violence. The message at the experience sharing event among implementing partners today was clear. That is, more needs to be done to address violence against children and young people.
As per the global reports, the likelihood of children with disabilities, being abused is almost 3 to 4 times more than children without disabilities. So in that context, it's very vital that we create awareness to all the stakeholders, parents and caregivers, and students and children with disabilities themselves.
He added that similar campaigns need to cover all the districts.
There are so many emerging and unreported cases in the communities. And the people are still not aware of the existing services and child policies and the reporting mechanisms.
There is obviously reluctance to change or to talk about violence due to deeply rooted cultural norms or methods of disciplining, which is often associated or synonymous to beating or hitting imawala. And this sets an urgency to raise awareness and foster behavior change.
The Women and Children Division under the Ministry of Education and Skills Development, with support from UNICEF and other stakeholders, carried out the campaign. For Karmongdi, this is Karmasam Nongda, PBS News.
Buying goods and services is expected to become even more expensive for Bhutanese households as the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, projects Bhutan's annual inflation rate for this year at 6.6%. In the global front, the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook report predicts global inflation to fall from 8.8% last year to 6.6% this year.
The sky-high inflation rate in Bhutan, fueled by the COVID pandemic, is on the decline according to figures maintained by the National Statistics Bureau, or NSB. However, latest numbers issued by the IMF shows a gloomy outlook for the import-driven Bhutanese economy. Projected at 6.6%, the IMF number is 1% more than the NSB's 2022 annual inflation figure. Globally, the IMF projects global inflation to decline by over 2%. However, despite projecting a decline in the inflation rate, the IMF's chief economist warns that the fight against inflation is not over. Speaking at the launch of the latest World Economic Outlook update, the chief economist said markets remain vulnerable.
Inflation could remain stubbornly high with continued labor market tightness and growing wage pressures requiring tighter monetary policies. An escalation of the war in Ukraine remains a major threat and could destabilize energy and food markets and further fragment the global economy.
The chief economist said this time around the global economic outlook hasn't worsened. However, the road back to a full recovery with sustainable growth, stable prices, and progress for all has only started. Meanwhile, despite the expected decline in inflation rates, the global economic growth rate is expected to slow from 3.4% in 2022 to 2.9% this year. The global economy is then projected to rebound to 3.1% in 2024. Kinzanghladen, PBS News.
The Bhutan Council for School Examinations and Assessment has declared the Bhutan Higher Secondary Education Certificate result for Class 12 examination and board exam result for Class 8 for the academic year 2022. The overall pass percentage for Class 12 stands at 87.80%, an increase of more than 5% from the previous year. For Class 8, the overall pass percentage stands at 56.38%.
Rigzel Homo from Ugin Academy School topped the science stream with 89.5%. Jamyang Kilepema from Mutita Higher Secondary School and Yudin Demo from Ugin Academy topped the art stream with 89.25%. And in the commerce category, Pemongchu from Desi High School topped with 90.5%. Kile Game from Taksi Central School topped the Language and Culture Studies Certificate examination with 85.75%.
It was surprising that I actually topped BC 2022 in commerce stream. I'm extremely happy that my hard work actually paid off. I would like to thank all my teachers and my parents for all their love and support.
First of all, I would like to offer the glory to Kinjasum and most importantly His Majesty's the 4th and 5th Drugelpo as well as Her Majesty the Drugelton. I would also like to express my gratefulness to my parents and my amazing teachers and school management. And I would also like to be thankful to my friends and relatives who have always been my side when I always needed them.
The result has been a very pleasant surprise, and this would never have been possible without the immense support from my teachers, family, and friends. Thank you so much for pushing me through the hard times. I would like to extend my heartiest felicitations to all the national toppers and everyone who got through this year.
Likewise, Pema Zangmo from Womrong Lower Secondary School topped the Class 8 board exams with 94.18%. The Ministry of Education and Skills Development reinstated the Class 8 board exam last year after almost 16 years. According to the ministry, the decision was in line with the Education Reform Initiative, approved by the Education Reform Steering Committee. Meanwhile, over 85% of science students have passed the exam, followed by 87.63% in Commerce stream and 88.72% in Arts stream. Similarly, 94.2% have passed the Language and Culture Studies certificate and 56.38% passed the Class 8 board exam. More than 13,300 Class 12 students appeared for the examination from 84 higher secondary schools, and over 11,800 Class 8 students from 176 lower secondary schools appeared for the board examination last year. Karmasam Tumongda for PBS News.
The second phase of the Million Fruit Tree Plantation project is expected to see minimal failures. Around 175 day subs are being trained on the cultivation and management of the fruit trees to ensure that the project is a success. The Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock organized the 5-day training in 6 agriculture research and development centers across the country. Around 30% of the fruit trees reportedly died during the first phase of the project.
In Thimphu, 30 Desub Gojes were trained at Yusupon National Center for Organic Agriculture. They learned techniques of pruning and grafting, orchard layout, pit digging, planting, and how to take care of the seedlings while distributing them to the farmers. Pruning is a technique to improve the shape of fruit trees, while fruiting and grafting is used to produce fruit seedlings that will ensure earlier and uniform fruiting. Likewise, orchard layout is the method to ensure that the seedlings are planted in proper spacing according to the landscape, slope, and availability of land.
When we go to work in the villages, I will teach my friends the process of plantation. I will also sensitize them about the production of trees and the benefits in the future.
According to the National Center for Organic Agriculture Center's horticulture officer, the spacing depends on the crops. For example, for fruits that have a bigger canopy at the bearing stage such as walnut and mango, the spacing is larger compared to other fruits like apple and peach. The officials recommend the size of the pits to be 1 meter deep and 1 meter each in length and width respectively. In addition, as fruit trees are perennial in nature, the officials said it is important to provide adequate manure during planting to enhance fertility, growth, and better quality fruits. Similar training was organized for other Desub Gojes in Wandifodra, Mongar, Serbrong, Zirang, and Tashika.
In the past, we carried out plantation unaware of the proper methods. As a result, some trees bore fruits and some didn't. Until now, we haven't understood the reason behind that. After the training, we understood what needs to be done in the initial stage of plantation, including how to dig pits according to the size of the trees and the amount of manure to use.
The agriculture officials said adequate irrigation should be provided for the proper growth of the trees as well as the development of fruits. They recommend irrigation especially at different stages of growth such as during flowering and fruiting stages and when the weather is too dry. The project will be using a mobile app that will help to monitor the trees in the future.
We have also covered on how to operate the mobile app that we are going to use to collect data on the geocoding as well as beneficiary lists. App that we are using, it is called as Gobo Collect, and we are using that app in order to collect the geographical information of the planted trees. Through this, we can find out where and how many trees have been planted in each and every part of the country.
The trained day soups will further be training about 2,000 other day soups. The training is expected to ensure that every beneficiary have diverse nutritional fruits and provide them with an opportunity to earn income. For Karmawandi, this is Divika Pradhan for BBS News.
And that's it for Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Kizongmu signing out. Goodbye.